So Om Shanti everyone, and a very, very warm welcome to Gyan Sarovar to Madhuban. I'm sitting in the training center in Gyan Sarovar. Can you see me? I can see you all around the world, and really wanted to just extend a huge, huge welcome to the Brahmin family everywhere. So you probably know me, I'm Sona, and I just flew into India 5 days ago. It's huge fortune to be here on Baba's land. And today's topic is what's next? Before I start, I'm just going to take one moment to make sure that translation is working properly everywhere and everyone is comfortable and happy and can hear what I'm saying. Okay, so what's next? What's next is a very deep question. Nobody knew what was coming in 2019. Do we know where we're going from here? I'd really like to take this opportunity today to introduce one of our most deep and wise speakers in the West, outside Bharat. In fact, Sister Denise, who I've known for many, many years as a friend and a mentor, was Baba's first child to come in the Western world. Sister Denise took Gyan in London back in 1975. She wears a white sari now, but I believe in those days she wore more black clothes than white. And she came to the center on a motorbike. She has been the pioneer to open many, many centers for Baba, give her bones in service. I know that she's served in America, in Canada, opened centers in Germany. She's an author, she's a TV broadcaster, she's a sister, big sister and a mentor to most of us. And just as God is known as the intellect of the wise, I would say Denise Ben is the intellect of the double foreigners. And we just are so grateful that she's joined us today. It's a wonderful opportunity to hear her thoughts on what's next. So Sister Denise is going to be looking into her crystal ball today and answering some questions from me and then some questions from you as well. So keep any questions that you have in your intellect or write them down in the chat box and I'll read them out to her as soon as we finish what we have coming anyway. Sister Denise, big welcome. Lovely to have you with us today.
Hello.
I'm going to actually just start with a few questions that I thought of that have been on my mind about what's next. And I think, what's next is a very broad question. What's next for the world? What's next for us as Baba's children, the Brahmin family? I mean, are we going to meet again? Are we going to come to Madhuban again? Am I the only one who has these questions, or do you have them too? What's next for me? I mean, am I going to be ready for what happens in the future? I really don't know. Sister Denise, what do you feel about this? I mean, what's next for all of us? Can you shed some light on my confusion, please?
You're sounding like Arjuna. Well,
Can we hear Sister Denise? Are you unmuted?
I'm unmuted. I want to make sure that you can hear me. Can you hear me? Can you give me a signal that you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Denise, perfectly.
We can hear you, Sister Denise.
Great. So I remember when Baba began to talk to us and introduce this expression suddenly and unexpectedly, quite a long time ago. And people were wanting to know. And Baba would say, whatever it is, none of you will be able to guess it in advance. And so with that statement from Baba, on the one hand, I didn't really spend much time speculating, but then he also talks to us about the three aspects of time, that we should look at everything in terms of the three aspects of time, which means we need to see the trends that are going on. I remember when the event of the tsunami and the earthquake and the meltdown of Fukushima nuclear power facility happened. I was in Madhuban at that time and meeting Baba on that day. And he said, this is the beginning of destruction. And what was going on is three natural calamities together, a tsunami, a big earthquake, and a nuclear, or the escape of radioactive nuclear water, which traveled around the ocean and contaminated much of Japan. And people there are aware that there is radiation and that they are being affected. So we are in destruction. Destruction is not a 5-minute matter. It takes time. And the things that are going to happen will be, as he said, sudden and unexpected. I don't think any of us expected to be dealing with a pandemic. And among BKs, the discussion has been about all the great benefits, the side effect benefits that have happened from this. Some BKs have definitely been taken by the COVID virus, which was, it happens. But what's also happened is that we have sort of lost all the boundaries. The sisters in India talk about how the Zoom has taken away all these different zones, and everyone can go anywhere they want, anytime they want. All they need is a Zoom link and a password, and there you are. And so the family has really become coalesced. And that is a really positive thing. People do want to have certainty, they want guarantees, but one of the secrets of life is you have to accept that there are no guarantees and that you will not know what's going to happen. But Baba has told us so much about preparing ourselves for a great deal of upheaval. And so we need to be ready spiritually. Now, in the COVID-19 impact and restrictions and so on, we had to learn how to be alone. And of course, BKs know very well how to be alone. So that's fine. We're ready for that. We have to have food supply. So we knew that. So we have food supply. Some people might not have listened to that instruction, but Baba has given us all the instructions we need to be able to handle anything that happens anytime. And what we can also see in terms of our divine family is that on the one hand, there's the institution, which we are very aware about, but the thing that we have become more aware about, I think, is the network. The Brahmin family is a network. Of course, it's not possible to know personally 1 million people, but I mean, I have a huge number of Brahmins in my life. We have working relationship, but we also have friendship. We're spiritual friends. And Daddy Janki used to always tell me how important it is in Gyan to have a circle of spiritual friends. And her very close friend was Didi Manmohini. And that was a very, very powerful relationship. So we have a relationship with Baba, and we have our relationship with the Divine Family. And this is a powerful, system which keeps us empowering each other, one of the things that was also said in the conversations that are going around is that because now we see that many of the seniors have moved on and gone into advanced party. And so who will look after us, people were saying. And the answer came, well, we will look after each other. And that is what we're doing. And it's so beautiful. We know we're eternal and immortal souls. We know there will be death. There will be maybe violent death. We see the signs of the times that we know the world economy is very fragile. We know the climate change is affecting agriculture, food production, and so on. All of the things that we were used to, the infrastructures, the healthcare system, and so on, everything has been compromised. And yet we have a certain resilience. And so we're seeing, you know, there's the dark side and the light side of everything. And how am I? Personally, I'm very fine, very comfortable adjusting to any kind of situation. Where am I? I am where I am. You know, I'm based in Germany. I'm currently in France. Some travel is there, not as much as we are used to, but no matter what, life goes on. And we have to just make sure, I think, really make sure that we are in our power. But we also see that there's a lot of people who didn't realize that they were not quite ready. And so I think that's also something we need to think about and talk about, so that we do help each other to be ready and to feel secure in times of insecurity, and to feel loved and included. And it's okay.
I hear you saying, Sister Denise, is that we are cared for, looked after, whether by Baba or the family, and this will continue to be the way we move forward, which is a great thing to know, to believe. But then you also added this line that we need to be in our power. And if we're not in our power, then maybe there will be tests. So I guess my next question to you is, what kind of tests remain for us to see, to feel, to go through, for us to really move on, move upwards in our stage? Because the way I see it is, you know, each test that comes to the world and comes to us is really just to push us forward in maybe the areas where we're not prepared to move forward on our own. Or am I wrong?
No, I think that there will be very big tests. One is the test of aging. We are an aging population, so you have to handle that test. You have to handle the test that what you thought would be there in terms of arrangements to look after you, what it may or it may not be. And Daddy Yankee always used to say, look, I am not dependent on anything or anyone. I depend on God. And that means don't expect anything from anyone. And if you do have expectations, you will have to face a certain amount of disillusionment. And if you are good at handling disillusionment, that's really good. Because a person who can face disillusionment, they can face anything. So this is a very good thing. There will be health tests, there will be mental health tests, emotional health tests, money tests, loyalty tests, all kinds of tests. But the purpose of a test itself is to carry us forward. And I think what I always feel for myself is, let me make sure that every day I clock up good karma. Every day I do service of some sort. If you can't do one sort, do another sort. But every day, some or another service. Every day, time with Baba. Every day, do our practices. Eat in Baba's remembrance. We are walking, moving lighthouses. So even if there's, nothing and no one, we are sending out light. And as in today's Murli, good wishes for the world. No one has been prepared as much as we are to send out good wishes. And for us, all of the bad things that are happening, all of the collapsing and so on and so forth, we have known about it for a long time. And we also know that it's going to reach its extreme. And when it reaches the extreme, there will be massive change. And we will leave our bodies sooner or later. And we are preparing ourselves and the world for a beautiful civilization, the golden age. So the work is going, and we're doing it. So it's as we were told. So no surprises, in a way, no surprises.
Yeah, well, it's easy to say no surprises, but I must say I was surprised in 2020. What do you think, Sister Denise, that we have not yet faced, whether individually or as a Brahmin family? It's a strange question to ask because obviously we haven't faced it, so we don't know perhaps what it is. But what do you see as something that will come and that we might be unprepared for and that might just, sneak up on us that, we will not know how it hits us as a Brahmin family? Will it be the lack of internet, for example? I mean, at the moment we're surviving and we're connecting because of internet. When that goes, do you think we're ready for that? Or could it be something else? I never thought that Brahmins wouldn't come to Madhuban for 12 months from the foreign lands. What might it be? And what is it within us that perhaps is not yet ready to face that?
I think Baba has said the entire world needs to receive Baba's message. And we are always thinking about it like we send little flyers around, or we do programs with lots and lots of people, or we have tons of YouTube events or Zoom events. And so we operate like that. But then Baba has told us, we need to serve through the mind. We need to make sure that our capability for communicating with each other through the power of the mind is developed and developing. We need to make sure that our thoughts are pure. And Baba has told us the knowledge, but are we applying it in a subtle enough way, a deep enough way? Are we churning at the level that he wants? So there's that, because then when there's no internet, well, we're connected mentally, so that's okay. And we're connected with him, and he wants us to be able to manage with nothing, just him. And so those things are coming. We do not know what changes may happen to the Brahma Kumaris as an institution, because everything evolves. And there are always going to be developments, changes. Not very many people realize how much the Brahma Kumaris was dramatically changed when Dadi Prakashmani took over from Brahma Baba. Dramatically changed. And Baba had empowered her, and she took the mantle of leadership and led Brahma Kumaris into a huge international organization, and it became really very different. And every so often, the yagya itself evolves, and there is slow evolution and there is quick evolution. So every so often circumstances arise where everything changes, and so there may be big changes in the yagya, and if it is to be, then we will manage it, because we know our faith is Baba has a plan. Our faith is Baba does this every cycle and it always works really well. So whatever it is that he does this cycle will be just as good as every other cycle, and it always results in the golden age. So we are okay with that, because we know. And this is what faith is. It's not blind faith. It's an understanding that Baba is in charge. And every so often, you know, when there were questions about Dadi Gulzar and everything, Baba said, Baba's in charge. This is not Dadi Gulzar in charge or any other Dadi in charge. Baba's in charge. So he knows what he's doing. This is his yagya. We say it's our yagya, but he says, yes, it's your yagya, but I'm the boss, you know, and I know what I'm doing, and I'm God, and I have the power and the clarity and the purity, total purity. And if we are with him, then that's good. So whatever it is, we have to be open, ready, willing, without limit. And so, okay, but what I think is very important is for us to check ourselves and see, okay, what am I dependent on? What can I not live without, you know, or am I really independent of these physical support systems? I mean, we say, okay, you can't come to Madhuban for 12 months, but we're in Madhuban all together now, because you're speaking from Gyan Sarovar, and Madhuban is not really buildings. Madhuban is people who are together. We have to shift off of the physical level. Now we're operating on virtual. We're using technology. Baba said science will be given to us to help us. And now we also need to go into the deep experience and practice of deep silence, so that we can be resonating with Baba and create that resonance that goes around the world and enables people to have some sort of a vision of Baba's work and Baba's being and Baba's helpers. And that's always been our work. But maybe we take it on very physical levels, but I think to say we have to remain so grounded in the physical. We are, after all, spiritual, so we need to be more subtle and deeper, I think, deeper.
Yeah, I love that line that you just said, that whatever happens, it's going to take us to the golden age. I mean, what a point of faith, you know, what a point to hang on to. It's all good, as we say, it's all good. You talked about being independent. And yes, there have been some tests in the last year or few years, the test of managing with less food, less people around us, no centers, no Madhuban. Spiritually, emotionally independent. I mean, are we ready to just stand alone and just be me? And somehow in that standing alone with Baba, be connected with everyone? To me, it seems like a massive jump, Sister Denise, from where we are today. And truly, I feel like I'm sitting on the stage in Gyan Sarovar talking to you. That's the feeling I get with everyone just sitting in the hall, in Harmony Hall. But to not even have this conduit, this method of connecting, you know, don't you feel it's a massive jump for the Brahmin family, much more than we've ever seen before, to be independent in that way? Or do you think it'll happen easily and we'll all be ready for it?
Well, people used to say to me, sister, tell me, what is easy about Easy Raj Yoga? It's not so easy, but it is it has always been Baba's way. Brahma Baba was in front line, going ahead, cutting the path. The daddies going ahead, cutting the path when Baba became Avyakt. And we have to also do that. Daddy Janki used to say, I'm like a pilot piloting an airplane, and I have to look after all these passengers who are in the airplane. But she's the pilot, you know. And she always used to teach us that, you know, you be pioneers, you cut the path, and people will follow. So there are people who maybe have already made big leaps, which gives kind of permission for other people to make big leaps. We cannot stay in a state of just kind of frozen in time. Everything is moving, everything is evolving. And change means that there will be some people who will take the lead, who will get a sense of what is needed. I mean, I remember for myself, I was thinking for years, we must get ourselves onto the internet full on like this. But it happened now, but thinking about it for 30, 40 years. I mean, since the 1980s, when the internet appeared, we've been thinking about this. And the COVID-19 just catapulted us into it. And there can be other catapults that can push us into the next level. But Baba has always said, you know, try to discern what is needed and do it, because then other people will see what you're doing and they will follow. And this is something that Didi Manmohini used to talk to me about a lot, that whatever it is that you're doing, others will see it and they will do the same. So be very aware that what you're doing has to be insightful, has to be real, has to be genuine, and has to be just really connected with where Baba's taking us. And then it'll be right. So we have to have faith in ourselves. Baba will give indicators, little signals, visions, whatever. He has his means to do things. And so some have to be pioneers and carry people to the next step. And different people will do different things. And whichever is the right thing, it'll take off, you know, and it'll go in that way. Because we are instruments of Baba. So we say, okay, Baba, here am I. What has to be done, get it done. I'm here, you know, and fearlessly. You have to be fearless. That's important.
Yeah. Can I ask you, Sister Denise, because you are a pioneer in the Brahmin family, what are you doing to pioneer the way forward at the moment? I mean, what's next for you in terms of your own personal growth? I mean, if we had to follow your footsteps, tell us some of your secrets.
I don't know if there's secrets. I think that it's all to do with opening the heart and becoming really yourself. You know, we have been in this school for many, many years, and the normal system in schools is that you get trained as something, for something. And in many ways, what I'm feeling is we have to be really genuine, and we have to integrate now into the world. I think in many ways we have been isolated from the world, separated, and I think that we need to enter into the world and be these walking, moving lighthouses. I think people they don't want to hear us, they want to feel us, they want to be able to trust us as beings, as friends. Serving people as a friend is quite a good thing. And we can be just just ourselves, because Baba has enriched us so much. We don't need to perform. We can just be, and sort of drop all of our own support systems and just be like, you know, it was said, a diamond in the dust will always shine, you know, so we don't need any kind of fancy anything to make us look good. We can just be what we are, because Baba has made us into something special. And then he's just putting us out. Sometimes I think, you know, we could be like a virus and we could just go around, and people could be sort of infected with virtues and feeling of immortality, and that everything, whatever it is, it's okay, and no problem, don't worry, you know, just be easy about it, because we're going, we're with God, and we're going to the soul world, and then we're going to the golden age. And in the meantime, we are spreading light into the world. We are serving the elements of nature. Everything is in upheaval, no doubt, but we're okay with it. And when we're okay with it, and when we're okay with ourselves, then it gives people an opportunity to be okay with themselves.
Mm. That's very beautifully said. You know, can I be myself and allow others to be who they are? Which means really taking off a word that you've used before, all the scaffolding around Brahmin life, I guess, you know, the props that we have that make us feel that we are a particular identity, and just to come back to being someone who I really am. I'm just going to go to some of the questions that have come in from those who are watching us. Someone is asking, how can we apply this nothing new and wear the shield of the drama? Does this require us to step into more power, just to have that faith that really nothing is new and I will be okay? Is there anything else that is needed apart from faith, power?
Well, what I think is really important is for us to shift from theoretical gyan to real gyan. A real gyan means I'm not just talking about this and being a mouthpiece for an organization. No, this is the real stuff, and this is the real me, and we have to embody it. And in order to embody it, we have to live it. We have to pass through all the different challenges, emotional, psychological, whatever it happens to be, and apply these mantras that Baba has given us in real situations and get through the real situations. This is called cutting the path. And if we just stick to theoretical stuff, people will say, well, you're not walking your talk, and they'll be right. We have to take away all this, as you called it, scaffolding, and just be purely me, only me. And whatever happens, it is what it is. So we have to have acceptance. We have to integrate it into us, use the powers Baba's given us, the powers not for us to talk about, but for us to embody. And the only way we can embody these things is by allowing ourselves to get tested. You know, the more you become the real self, the more circumstances will try to challenge you about that. And in that challenge, you handle that challenge and you become more and more real and more the genuine article. And then people will feel that it's solid. You see, Baba is so subtle. The soul is so subtle, but our dharna is visible. And if people can see it, then they can trust it.
In relation to that, someone is asking, what about all the traumas in opening the heart, which actually prevent me from communicating with other Brahmins and teachers? I guess that for me brings up the word healing. How can one heal oneself so one can open one's heart and not need to shield oneself from hurt or past traumas?
Well, you know, Baba gave us the power of tolerance so we can handle pain. And Baba gave us the power of accommodation so that we can handle all sorts of opposition. Baba gave us the power to face, so we can face all of these things. You open your heart, you open up your wounds. He is the surgeon. He is Vaidyanath, you know. He is the doctor, and he gives us all sorts of gyan and yoga. When you do yoga really properly, it's going to open up a big can of worms. And if you want to prevent that, you can't advance. So we have to be able to manage it. And if we can't talk to some people, but there's always going to be some people that we can talk to. And there are so many Brahmins who are saying, no, I need to work through my stuff, work through my traumas, work through my wounds. In India, I think people deal with these things through physical illness more than in the West. The West, the bodies are a bit more strong and resilient, but then you have to deal with it at the level of the mind and emotionally. But there is so much that Baba has given us to do that, and we just have to be able to discern it and use it and apply it. And there are many, many Brahmins who have created circumstances in which this can happen, and it's proliferating. So this is what's happening. People are really genuinely working through their stuff and healing their stuff, and seeing people who do that and get through it, and they're in fine condition as a result of it. So that gives them the impetus to and the confidence to go ahead and also do it, you know. So yes, very doable.
Yeah. A slightly different question here. Do you think that the Brahmin family, the institution, will go through large-scale defamation again? Is that something that we should be prepared for?
Well, there is anyway all sorts of defamation going on here and there, time to time, all sorts of things in the internet and so on and so forth. But, you know, it's life is that anytime you are representing God, anytime you're representing truth, look what happened to Jesus Christ. We ended up on the cross. You know, that was a very difficult thing to manage, but it became a very important foundation of Christianity. Buddha had to deal with all sorts of opposition from politically very powerful people. So for us, you know, we're doing normal behavior. You do something new, you do something different, there will be trouble. And people will try to discourage you and make out that you're not right and you're a heretic and so on, but you do it anyway and you get through. And so we do. And Baba is actually not getting anybody crucified or anything like that. Some people have had to go through big physical challenges. Brahma Baba had to go through the worst of all challenges, but he did it, you know. And if we have to have a few of that, a little bit of that, it's okay, you know, it's par for the course.
Yeah. I think the daddies went through all of that in the beginning, and Baba often says, as was the beginning, so will be the end on many levels. And I guess my last question to you would be, we've got to become angels. So how do you see that happening? Is it going to be an individual exercise that I ascend to being an angel, or will we all become angels together? How are we going to fly home together? Is the institution going to change? I mean, when you look into that crystal ball, Sister Denise, how do you see the coming time for us as a family, as an organization unfolding? Honestly, I mean, at the moment, we're still holding together as the Brahma Kumaris. Is that going to break down? Are we going to be Brahma Kumaris, angels? Or how is that all going to happen?
What Baba wants from us is to become the point form. And we have to practice this, because then he can use us and project us into the sky. Baba had once told Jayanti Ben, I think it was, that people will see lights in the sky and think they're flying saucers, but they will actually be yogis who are projecting that point form into the atmosphere. And this is what Baba wants us to do. He talks about service through the mind. We have to think about, what is that? When you come into your avyakt stage, you practice being in your avyakt stage, you practice deep tapasya, and you go into that angelic form. You know, you don't know when nuclear war will happen, and it's only a 20-minute thing, and nobody's going to tell you in advance. It'll be like Dadi Chandramani, you know, she went to the subtle regions and she thought she'd had a trance experience, and then she said, okay, I'm going back now, and Baba said, sorry, you're dead. You know, I am? Really? Yeah. I mean, we could experience things like that too. You know, it's done, it's over. You missed the destruction altogether. But anyway, it's okay. Now we're going to be with Baba in the angelic form, go to the soul world. Someone once asked Dadi Gulzar, how do you do this? She said, it's really easy. You just close your eyes and open them again, and you'll be in the golden age, because you leave your body, time stops. Your karmatit, there's no dharmaraj, and then you get born in the new cycle. You open your eyes and there you are. So the job we have to do, I think now, is to really follow Baba's instructions, develop the soul consciousness, develop the angelic form, and serve through what Baba said in the Murli today, pure good wishes. That will work, that will reach. Nobody can do what we can do. And we keep maybe trying to do things on too much of a physical level, but he's been telling us, no, have faith in the power of thought and really work through all your stuff, work through your psychological issues and your fears and all of that stuff, because you must become free. Karmatit means be free from all of these things that can limit you and diminish you, because he's making us great and we keep ourselves small. We have to let him do what he knows best how to do, go along with it.
He's making us great and we keep ourselves small. I mean, what a line to end on. There's only one more question from the audience that I'd like to ask you, which is a simple one, from Brother Ganesh in Sri Lanka, who says, Nostradamus, any ideas? Do you have any thoughts on anything that's been said, Brahma Baba included? I mean, he was a visionary. Is all that going to come to pass? Or is it something else that's going to happen?
But there are many predictions that Baba has given. And one thing that he did say is that the yagya, as presently constituted, will no longer be there. And the majority of BKs will go away. And then it will be reset at a much higher level. Absolute purity, deep tapasya, there will be a massive change in the yagya. And so we've heard about that and we know, and maybe the circumstances for that to happen are coming soon. And so let us really look at our faith and know that he has prepared us. He's given us a choice. We can either follow his instructions or not. And there will be tests of faith. And so we have to be prepared for that. There will be war. There will be war, civil war in India, and it's coming along. I think if there's civil war in India, there will not be too much traveling to Madhuban, but we have to make Madhuban ourselves, become Madhuban. We have to be the yagya individually, like in a beehive, all the individual bees are the whole thing. And Baba often talks about the bees, they're Brahmaris. Brahmaris are bees, not buzzing moths, they're bees. And bees are like individuals who are part of some big thing, like a body with many, many souls, you know. So the yagya is a kind of spiritual body with many souls who are the Brahmins. Wherever you are, you're like a hologram. You are the yagya, and you replicate it, you represent it, you vibrate it wherever you are. And the destruction will go on at whatever point it happens, but we are doing something very underground and causing this massive change, because Shiv Baba is making us do that. He's getting it done through us, and we are willing instruments for that up to the end of our life and then some. So we follow Baba. That's okay.
Thank you, Sister Denise. I guess if you had one line as a mantra for us to take away in response to what's next, we might just finish with that and then ask you to give drishti to the whole world who are watching. I think we have 310 on Zoom and another 200 and something on YouTube. So there's a lot of centers and peoples connected to us. So one line as a mantra to help us just move forward into what's next. And then we so look forward to your sweet drishti, your powerful drishti from France. And we'll end with that silence. So I just want to thank everyone who's online, but more than anything, thank you, because you're just so honest and such a wonderful mentor to the entire family. And you serve tirelessly. I know you finished a call just 10 minutes before you jumped onto this one. So thank you so much from all of us, and lots of love from Madhuban to everyone. So the mantra and then your lovely drishti. Thank you.
Well, my favorite mantra is Man Mana Bhav, but the way I translate that in my language is perceive the being of God with your mind, and just really allow your mental powers of perception to see him, to feel him, to know him, to receive him into your heart and your mind, and be with him. This is loving God.
Thank you. Om Shanti. Thank you.
Om Shanti, everyone. Thanks a lot, Denise Ben. Thanks a lot, Sona Ben. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Sister Suman. Are you going to unmute everyone so they can say hello?
Yeah, everyone is unmute. They can say Om Shanti to everyone.
They can unmute themselves now.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om
Shanti.
Thank you.
Om Shanti, everyone.
Om Shanti.
Baba.
Om Shanti, Baba.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
करते रहने वाले 2 मिनट और for 3 है अभी.
Om Shanti.
Good wishes
Om
to
Shanti.
everyone.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Everyone.
How are you, sweet brother? Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
No,